There you go.
Hello there, everyone. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine.
This is a Harvesting Hearts Mission special,
That's for sure.
and my name is Margie Deckard, and I'm Art Nash's manager, and this is a also Nash and Deckard Media Production special,
And I'm proud of that too.
and this is Art today, and but hey Art,
Hi,
uh,
Margie.
hey Art,
Glad to be here.
thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And Art would like to talk to you about today how he writes a poem.
Well, it's interesting. Margie had come to me recently and said that she had seen, and we put on our website some documentation on how people write poems. And I want you to tell them where to go see that, first of all. Remember?
Okay. Yes, you will go to my website, www.margiesinformation.blogspot.com, and just click on Art and Margie picture, and you'll see it there.
Thank you. When you read that, you'll see kind of a systematic way of how people approach writing a poem. I've been an artist for 50 years and actually had learned from the Lord himself about a year and a half ago, I'm not an artist. He is. I'm his apprentice. So now I'm the apprentice to the master artist, Jesus Christ. And when you do that, as I have, you begin to think differently about how everything is created. I don't necessarily follow a systematic route. So for those of you who are very creative, but don't necessarily can't follow directions on how to be creative, I'm going to give you an idea how you can do it from just a theme in your mind. Now, Margie, I'm going to ask you one question first. Are you familiar in Scripture with how God the Father, our Father, ended the earth at the first time, how he destroyed the earth the first time?
Sure. Yes. He instructed Noah to build an ark,
There you go.
and and he did that because that was his sign. Not he was not going to destroy the earth again by water.
There you go.
I mean
So
by fire.
that hit me one day. This is an idea. I said, I want to write a poem about Noah. Well, what would you do? But do you recall, I believe, that God said to Noah one thing, in addition to putting his family on the ark, bring two of every animal. You remember that?
Yes. Oh yes.
Two giraffes, two squirrels, whatever they brought. So I said, wait, Noah's Ark, a story about Noah's Ark, a poem that I later put to music. It's called Two by Two. Does that make sense?
Yes, it sure does.
So that's how I got the idea and took the theme of God saying, Noah,
Excuse me.
put two animals of every kind on the boat. So when I started to think about that, this is how the poem started. First of all, the name of the poem is Two by Two.
Two by two.
Okay. So if you'll recall, going onto the ark, I said to myself, thinking, as anybody could and would, walking side by side, right?
Right.
It's time to take the ride. On board the ship of hope, please don't be left behind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Noah, his family, he was told by God, get the animals on board and shut the door. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shut the door. Yeah.
So that's how we get the first theme verse done. I introduce how they were told to get onto the ark. So then I thought, well, they're on the ark. And what happens next? After everybody is secure and the door on the ark is shut, what happens for 40 days and 40 nights?
It rains, doesn't it?
It rains, torrential rain, as
Yes.
only
Torrential.
God the Father could send down.
Right.
Did he flood the earth?
Yes. Yes. Sure did.
I heard he flooded it so high the mountaintops were underwater. Okay?
Yes.
So then I said to myself, what was it like being on the boat after the flood starts? So I said to myself, before I do, I wanted Noah Noah was needed to know from God himself that you will be safe. And the way he did it, I said to myself the next standing verse, standing by their side, the chosen one resides. That's God himself.
Oh,
For all who are, so no one will be denied the comfort found inside the ark. So God's saying to Noah, close the door, Noah, you'll be safe. I'm with you. Does that make sense?
sure does.
Okay. So then they're on the boat, and then the rain starts. And Noah, the boat begins to kind of shift a little. Don't forget, was the boat on top of a mountain?
I can't remember, Art. But
Believe it or not,
it's-
God instructed Noah to build a 700-foot ark on top of a mountain.
yeah, he did instruct him. He did. He had
And by the way, Noah
explicit
never
instructions.
built anything in his life. So that was
Right.
pretty good.
He had
Anyway,
explicit
he's on top of a mountain. The rains
Hmm.
are getting torrential, and the boat's beginning to rock a little bit.
Sure.
So this is how I depicted the boat beginning to drift in this massive earth drench. Basically, God flooded the earth. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me if this makes sense. Simply saying, what was that like? And I said, clashing thunder rolls, begins to take its toll for all who are deprived of place in the family circle, which is on board the ark. People are starting to drown. Clashing thunder rolls, it's raining, people are now drowning, they can't get on the ark, they're beating on the
Wow.
doors. So you can see it's too late for those who are deprived a place in the family circle. It's too late to get on board. The door is shut and it's raining and you can pound all you want, but you are not getting on. So does that make sense?
Yes, it sure does.
So the sequence is that we start by knowing that 2 by 2, everything is walking on board 2 by 2, that God himself is telling Noah when they get on and close the door, you're secure, I'm with you. 3, the rain's coming, people are banging on the doors of the ark, let me in. You're deprived of place in the family circle. So I said, that's interesting. What happened next? And I thought to myself, well, people have climbed, they banged on the door, they didn't get in, so what happens? Then the storm increases, and I said, tossing to and fro, that's the boat.
Wow. That's right.
The ship begins to rise. The floodwaters are coming up.
It's coming up. Wow.
Floating on the tide now, because it's well built. And I said, like lilies in the field.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So does that make sense?
Yes.
So now we know it's gone from getting them on board, God saying that you're secure, the torrential rains begin, people are banging on the doors and you can't get in, you're deprived of a place in the family circle, and now the flood is raging, the boat's tossing to and fro, and the ship begins to rise, it's floating on the tide, so you can see now they're in the storm. So it's another sequence of thought about the idea of Noah's Ark. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So then I asked myself, what happened after the 40 days of rain?
No more rain. But what happened?
The sun came
The
out.
sun came out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, beautiful.
And the waters start to come down. God says it's over.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
40 days, he looked around, nobody was alive. The sun comes out, and he says to Noah, Noah, look out the door now. And he opens up the door of the ark, not the main door, just a window, and this is what he sees. As the sunrise climbs, in search of calmer skies, the storm has cast its shadow to cover its disguise. So what I'm seeing there is the storm is over, the mist is gone, the sun's coming out, the waters are coming down. God has completed his mission. Noah's going, it's over. The rain's over. The sun's out.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't it?
To see all that
Yeah.
again like that.
Isn't that neat?
Yes.
So I said to myself, okay, the storm's over. The sun's out finally. Noah looks out the window, says to his family, it's over. Feels good, right? They're alive. They're secure. Everybody's safe. Father took care of them. So I said, what happens next? For all who have survived, God finally, the boat comes to land again. The waters are
Oh,
gone.
wow.
Open the door, Noah, and come out. He did,
Come out.
with his family and the animals.
All the animals.
And when they all get out, God says, now remember this. For all who have survived, which is just you, your family, and the 2x2 animals, you must continue to rely on my strength to get you by until you reach the other side of life.
That's exactly right, Art. I'm glad you used those words.
There you go. So you can see how I took an idea. I didn't follow any systematic format. What did I do? I followed the sequence of events of the theme.
That's right.
How it started, the beginning, how it went to the storm, how the storm cleared, and how at the end Father said, now if you are smart, you will always rely on me. Look what I just did for you until you get to the other side of eternal life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Get to the other side in eternal life. We have that hope and faith.
So that is one thought there. I wanted to ask how you thought, what you thought.
Well, I thought that was very, very good, Art. Your analogy, how you do that.
It's an idea.
You have to have an idea though first, don't you? Just
You do.
start out.
Because what does an idea do, generally speaking, if it interests you?
Spurs other.
It opens up your mind.
That's right. It opens up your mind to.
And of course, I remembered that simple story, how it came down. Bring some animals 2x2, get yourself on board, close the door. People are banging, let us on, and it's too late. The storm comes, the boat, thank goodness, it's 700 feet long in a storm that no ship could survive. It survives, the sun comes out, and God comes at the end when they all come out. And don't forget who saved your life.
That's right.
Okay? Now that is an idea of one thought. Would you like to hear one more?
Okay. Yeah, we've got some time here. We got. And
A little bit?
What I'll do, everyone,
Yes?
is these poems that he's talking about, these are lyrics that he had written to these poems. I'll put them on I'll type them up and put them on the website.
Beautiful.
And I did say wrong. You don't click on Art and Margie. I'll put this under poem to song as well. We'll go into that category. So you'll click on the picture, you click on Art Nash. You'll see it on my website. You just click on him, then that opens up poem to song. There's poems we do too, but I'll put these lyrics under that category. So you click on Art Nash instead of Art and Margie. What's under Art and Margie is the Harvesting Hearts Mission
program, which is a different program.
Yes.
Although it's a Harvest Hearts Mission special, everything we do.
Yes, it's in that same category.
What's interesting about this thought, if I could, most people might say, okay, he had a scriptural idea and was able to condense it into a poem. Now, could you do it with something else that's not scriptural? Well, I did. It's a little drastic, but I thought I'd share it with you. Actually,
but for beginners, though, Art, I don't know. This gives people ideas, but
yes,
it's some people that are beginner doing it. I'm not sure. It gives them a good guide to.
Just remember, let your creativity flow once you have an idea. Now, what I did with 2x2 about Noah's Ark, believe me, I didn't really have any particular idea how I was going to do this. I let my mind remember the story and put it into motion and saw what happened. You never know. It may not come out like this, but it'll come out the way you think it and see it. It's all of it's good. So I wanted to say, let's go back to another thought here. Do you remember the Boston Tea Party?
I heard about it in school, in history, learning it in history.
And we all did. Now here's the point. People back then were, it was their way. Don't ask me the details of the Boston Tea Party. I don't know. But it was a demonstration in the harbor, taking the tea off of ships that were supposed to be taxed.
That's right.
And they were against taxation. They were making a point. taxes are unfair.
That's right. We're taxed to death in this country.
So I said to myself, thinking about that, the Boston Tea Party
Oh, okay, you got an idea.
about taxation.
Yeah, about taxation.
And instead of saying it was bad, I wanted to use the example of the Boston Tea Party in our own country of how people demonstrated against excessive taxes and how it's unjust.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to myself, if I could, we start off the song, and I may be a little drastic, but in some of it's just, I called the whole thing National Tax Revolt Day. That was the Boston Tea Party. They revolted against taxes that one day.
Good title, Art.
Okay? So I said, how could you possibly write a poem about taxation? Tough.
Yeah, really. It would be tough.
Yeah. So I thought, we need a story.
That's right. So we got to start with the story.
You got to start with the story.
And a pen and paper.
Yes.
And time. You have to have time.
Yeah. But you start with what?
To
A
have,
theme.
To have your creative juices flowing.
And you start in a story.
In a story.
So what did I start off with? The Boston Tea Party.
Yes, that's right.
And I said this. Many years ago, there was an incident that changed the way in which we live today. They demonstrated against taxes, and it had an effect on how our country has progressed. I had to assume that they made some impact, whether it's justified or not, I don't know, but it was a story. So many years ago, that was the Boston Tea Party. And I went on to say, how do you take the Boston Tea Party and how could I describe what happened that day? That's the key. I'm not going to talk about taxation today. I want to know what happened that day in the harbor.
Very good.
So I said to myself, I wasn't there. I haven't really read that much about it, so I imagine the turmoil that was going on. And I said it's kind of use your imagination and animate it.
Oh, very good, Art. Very good point. Chip.
And I said that day, the sea mixed the ocean air with resentment and despair. The message was complete, no justice, no retreat.
Very good.
It was a way of animating the thought of why did they do this?
Right, very good.
Because the air was mixed with resentment of taxation, and they wanted fairness and justice, and they weren't going to retreat. They were going to do it. I took courage. And I admired it.
Sure did take courage, sure did.
So then I said, I set up the scene of taxation. I set up the Boston Tea Party and why they did it. Resentment was and despair were in the air because the sea was mixed with the ocean air of taxation.
Wow.
And they were not going. So I said, what is going on today that makes this day, the Boston Tea Party, important today, not then now? What about now? Is it the same? Is it fair? Taxation fair? Or did they protest today? Maybe we need to think about what we need to protest about to make taxation fair in our time. So I said this, what about now? And I said, no more laws. Say it's okay to pay the piper and get your way. No more taxes that pay for a special interest day. So I said, lobbyists, they're paying the piper, our government, to get their way. No more laws. You pay the piper, these lobbyists pay the our government, and they pass laws in their favor.
That's right.
No more of that.
Good.
No more taxes that you and I pay that pay for them to do that. That was my way of, that's my Boston Tea Party today.
Very good. That's very good analogy.
So I said, how does that relate to you and me now? We know that lobbyists are paying the government lots of money to pass laws to favor their particular interests, and they're doing it and supporting it with our tax dollars. And we're not getting anything for it.
Right.
Okay. And I said then, if that's true, I'm looking at Margie and me and you, and I'm going, are you tired of being told to forget the old ways of long ago, the Boston Tea Party, they're asking you, well, don't rebel. Just go along with this very, very dangerous process of taking money from lobbyists to pass laws in their favor and making us pay for it, and we get nothing for it. Are you tired of that? Of being told to forget the ways of the old days of the Boston Tea Party? And I ended up by saying, because if you are tired of it, there is a way. It's simply called National Tax Revolt Day. And the premise was this: one day a year, the whole nation stands up in unity like the Boston Tea Party and says, we want justice, we want fairness as a nation in the taxation process. And I called it National Tax Revolt Day, as it could be similarly compared to, in a different way, Pearl Harbor Day or any other day. It's a one day a year when we stand up and say, it's not fair. So you'd be amazed at how that one day could change the laws in Washington. So that's a thought.
That's right. That is a very good thought. And we all need to, it takes more than one person to do that. And we all should do that, you know.
And by having
stand up to whatever we feel is.
And having a day of unity when we all would do it and everybody knows what day it is and it's being prepared for every year, you know, not to hurt anybody, but to demonstrate the fairness of need for better taxation equalization.
That's right.
Just a day a year, like Pearl Harbor Day, honoring the men who died for us in Pearl Harbor from the Japanese bombing, or Memorial Day or Veterans Day. This is our day, and it's not violent. It's just our saying, we want a fair taxation system for the common man like Margie and me and you out there, and we are opposed to lobbyists being able to buy our government officials and get what they want when they don't even ask us, and they use our tax dollars to support it.
Right. Very, very good, Art. Very good.
And that's a second idea.
Yeah. So could you review real quick
Yeah.
So how should a beginner write a poem?
First
What
of
are
all,
the steps?
think of something that really interests you. Now, I have a variety of interests, obviously. I went from scripture, Noah's Ark, to the Boston Tea Party.
Right.
I've written 500 sets of these different thoughts. So I seem to be, I was in the music industry, and I've been an artist for 50 years. So, and I recorded 7 albums, etc., as Margie knows. So I may be in a position that I was a drummer for 45 years. I can play harmonica, guitar well. I write songs. I've written 80 songs, etc. But the premise is this: whether you have done all I've done, which many have done more and some have done less, remember this: think about something that truly interests you, that you'd like to talk about.
Step 1.
Second, think about the main sentence in your thought that would identify that thought. For example, Noah's Ark, 2 by 2. The Boston Tea Party, National Tax Revolt Day. Whatever you associate yourself with, that theme and thought. So you start with an idea, you find a theme, a simple sentence that starts it off. And what do you do after that? Tell the story.
Oh.
However you see it. There is no right or wrong in this. I will say this: when you tell the story, as you can notice in my writing, I like to rhyme a lot.
I was just going to ask you, does a poem really have to rhyme?
No.
Or your lyrics?
That's probably where I'm limited. I like rhythm. I like to rhyme my words. I start with an idea. I always look for, in the first word of the sea, mixed ocean air with resentment and despair. The message was complete: no justice, no retreat. You can see how I like the meter of it to do that, because I put it to music. If you don't put it to music, or even if you do, you don't have to. I do it. It's my way of feeling comfortable.
So what you're saying to me then, because see, when a lot of people, you think poem, okay, a poem has to rhyme. But you're saying it does not. You
No.
can just tell a story.
Yeah.
Your own lyrics, your own words.
Yeah, I tell you one other thing I do, if I
Wonderful.
could.
Yes.
When I write a verse,
Mhm.
or the first thought, I tend to always make it a minimum of 3 sentences and a maximum of 4
Oh,
short sentences.
good tip. A
So
minimum
that's
of 3.
and a maximum of
maximum
4.
of 4.
For example, you can see here there's 4, 4, and 4.
Oh, that's nice and sweet, short. No.
And but that's how I keep
Not
my
real long.
meter rhythmic
Oh,
movement.
I see.
On this, even in this set,
It's a
all of it's
system.
4.
System.
And it doesn't have to be long fours, just a little phrase, a phrase, a phrase, and a phrase, and tie it off.
Oh,
And what are you doing in each one of these phrases? You're tying the thought off and moving to the next
oh.
point of the story. So when you sit down and you have a thought, it could be about your mother, it could be about school, it could be about your boyfriend, it could be about money, it could be about your car, who cares?
Whatever interests you, I guess, or your animal. If you're
Yeah.
a loved animal.
And there's
or-
no topic that's better or worse than the others. They're all beautiful. It's what's important to you. Just remember this, that you want to have, if you can, at least 4 segments that you write about. You want to chop your story up into 4 pieces. Beginning, a couple in the middle, and an ending thought. So you have your introduction thought, what the story's about. 2 verses about the content of the story, and a 3rd that resolves and tell you how I see it ending.
Oh, very good. Very good.
In a sense, that's how I do it.
And we challenge you all, please send your poems in to us. Like I said again, I will be putting these on the on my website for you to look at. Art's what we just discussed here, these 2 poems. And it'd be under, what did I say? Click on Art Nash,
Yeah.
the picture. And just challenge you to do that. We'd love to see them.
I'd love to see them. And any comments you want to leave,
Yes.
I would be glad to give you my opinion about it, or guide you if you need any help. I many times have taken, somebody has handed me something, as you know Heather did,
Yes. Uh-huh.
and actually Margie and her relative of hers, I'm writing a song about their mothers. I'd never met them. They didn't tell me what to write. Well, I've already written, I just thought about it, who they were to me from a picture I saw, and told the story the best I could. And then, and that works too. So I would be glad to look at any of your poems and give you any suggestions that you might would want to ask me. If not, just to hear from you. I'd like to read your poems. So thank you.
All right, thank you all. And you know, we can do it that way, and then we'll also have poem to a song too, where you'll see under that same area there. When you click on Art Nash, you can send us a poem, and Art Nash will compose it, and we'll sing it, and videotape it, and you send us a cover of your picture of someone that you really loved, or animal as well. And we'll send it to you.
And it's a nice package.
Yeah, very nice package for $94.99. That includes shipping and handling.
And go to that site, because the explanation of this poem to a song is laid out so well by Margie.
Right.
You see all the details and the beauty of it, and an example of how I did one on a video.
Yes. So thanks again. Appreciate you listening. And y'all have a nice night. And again, my website is www.margiesinformation.blogspot.com. Good night.
See ya.